Welcome to Happy Holiday Cooking. My name is Helen Barata, and I am the Director of Development at First Place for Health. And we are pleased to bring our webinar to you today. Lisa Lewis, she is just a very important staff person. She is one of our important people. She wears lots and lots of hats. She's actually our Chief Operating Officer. She kind of runs all the operations in our company and does a lot of things that you all see. Anything you see behind the scenes, anything you see in print, Lisa's had her hand in it. You see it, a picture of it, an image of it, anything you see, whether that's Lisa, she's doing it somehow. If it arrives in your mailbox, she was part of that too. Anyway, but Lisa is also well known for her cooking abilities. She's a cook, a caterer. She is the one that picks all those menus in our Bible studies, in the Jumpstart menus. She's been doing that for years for us. And now she has, I'm going to lift up the cookbook she already has. She's an accomplished cookbook author, a healthy, happy cooking. And later on, at the end, I'll be telling you about her new cookbook coming out. So let's go. Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take it away.
Hey everybody, hello. Welcome to Happy Holiday Cooking. This is really a wonderful time of year. Lights, decorations, there's parties at work with our family and our friends. We even know what Christmas smells like. Do you ever walk in and say that smells like Christmas? Or you smell a lotion and it smells like Christmas? So it's just a wonderful time of year, but it's also a time when our to-do list can be pretty long. So we've got a lot of things to do in this time of year. So I want to kind of poll everybody, ask the question that everybody always asks is, have you finished your Christmas shopping? So who has finished their Christmas shopping? Helen's going to run a little poll and you can answer.
All right, everybody, up on your screen should have popped up a poll. Sometimes people have a hard time seeing it, but there should be something flashing on your screen, and you can only pick one. And the options are, I was done before Thanksgiving, I'm 50% done, I'm 25% done, I shopped the sales on Christmas Eve. So what kind of shopper are you? And that's an interesting kind of a thing. Lisa, I'm wondering, where are you on this, Lisa? Where are you on your shopping? 50%, 25, or are you done already?
I am not done already, and I'm going to be very envious of those that check that. About 25% probably, pretty low still.
And what the answer is, 53% report that they're 50% done. So 50% are 50% done. And then the next one is 25% done. We have 17% of the people shopping on Christmas Eve. Wow. And 10%, let's be envious of them. They are already done their shopping. Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't believe there's that many, but I always hear about that. So I knew they were out there somewhere, and now we've identified them, so that's good. But it is really busy, and it's hard to eat healthy this time of year. There's Christmas cookies everywhere, there's candy everywhere, so it's practically impossible not to just celebrate all month long. There's always stuff going on. We're just busier and busier, and we can feel exhausted. We want to be a happy holiday cook, but sometimes it's kind of hard. There's just so much to do. So I want to help you be a happy holiday cook with just some tips and some recipes. I want your feedback. If you have questions as we're going along, feel free to just pipe those in there, and Helen will let us know what questions you have, because I'm sure others have that same question. So feel free to ask questions as we go along. I want to hear that. So, all right, we're going to start. We're going to kind of work our way through, but before we start, I kind of want to talk about, we talk about how tired we are. So I want you to think about that food makes you feel stuff. It can make you feel energized, or it can make you feel sluggish, right? So those choices matter about that part of it too, about how tired we get and how much we have to do. So we need that energy. So I want to kind of think about that as we go through. So let's talk about what we need to do first to kind of help ease that a little. I want us to take a personal inventory. How many parties, what kind of trips you up? Is it the mall food court? Is it that Annie's Pretzels? Is it the work party, the holiday party, your family? What trips you up? Let's take a little poll and see what trips you up.
So here's some questions. So what trips you up? We have cookies trip you up. I can see that. We have Sundays always trip them up. So this is a every week trip up. The specialty of the Sunday, something out of your regular schedule, I guess. Anything sweet. Family gatherings trip people up. Their own cooking and cream cheese, it says. So cream cheese, there you go. That's their danger food. The work parties that you're obligated to attend. The grocery store holiday offerings, all those delectable things in the grocery store. Parties and sweets. The unexpected goodies that kind of just show up. It says the office food. I hear that a lot. The office party, the office food days, the work parties, traveling. Let's see what else we have. Seeing other people eating the delicious foods. Maybe they're feeling envious of that. That's funny. We were talking about that, and My Place for Discovery has a thing about that, being envious of other people. Snacks in the house. Teacher's lounge. This is a teacher. So food at work, the teacher's lounge, office gatherings. Looks like parties and travel. That travel here, family dinners. Time. They're at shortage of time. Here we go. Sugar, lots of sugar. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. We have homemade items at family gatherings. Oh, all the homemade things. Oh, that might be worthy, though. Extra activities. Lisa's going to talk about that worthiness later. Extra activities, takeaway, and then finding something good to eat, like just the opportunity of having something good to eat.
So having that good choice. Because we can't just take something away. We have to replace it with something else, right? You can't leave that hole there. So yeah, that's great. So we've taken that inventory. So you've kind of looked at these things. So now what you need to do is think about those in advance. Plan for those. Think, okay, we're going to have a work party and this is going to be there. What am I going to do? Or I'm going to my mom's and she always tries to get me to eat candy or whatever it is. So this is what I'm going to do. So just kind of think that through before you head out and just plan for that. So we've taken our inventory. The next thing we want to do is stay active. We want to stay active. That is kind of staying active is not only going to just is good for you, you know, exercise is healthy, but also it's going to give you a little metabolism boost and also change your attitude. I know when I exercise first thing in the morning, I eat healthier the rest of the day. It just changes your attitude. So think about that. And you want added activity. You don't want to you can't count that hour at Target Christmas shopping. I know it's not fair. You should be able to count it, but you can't really count it because it's not really that focused activity. So you want to get that 30 minutes of exercise even during the holidays. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you eat better. And it's just going to be good for you. So even if you have to like break it up into 15-minute intervals, you can definitely do that. When you put something in the oven, if somebody's in the house, just go for a 15-minute walk. Studies have shown that that's just as good as that full 30 minutes in one big block. So just be sure and get that activity. All right, so those are the two things we can do to kind of set us up for success during the holidays. So now let's talk food. That's what you're here for, right? To talk food, to talk recipes. So we're gonna go through a few recipes, and we're gonna kind of health up your typical fare. We're gonna add some new things you might not have thought of, and we're gonna go through each different section: appetizers, sides, entrees, and desserts. So we're gonna talk a little bit about everything. But I want you to remember, as we're going through that, we're gonna give you all these recipes. So you're gonna get a link to all of these. So you don't need to write down everything you see. All right. A lot of the appetizers you see at holiday parties are full of cream cheese. I heard somebody mention cream cheese or mayonnaise. So a lot of those, you just don't know what's in there. And I don't really want you to just feel like all you can have are carrot sticks or celery or the veggie tray, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making healthy choices when we can and not depriving ourselves of our favorites. So let's start with appetizers. First one we're going to do is a hummus. This is a garlic and sun-dried hummus. It really kicks your hummus up a notch because it's got that fresh tomato from your sun-dried tomatoes, adds a little color, and you really want to try when you can to make your own hummus. If you look at the ingredients on your hummus, a lot of times you'll see some other things like guar gum or potassium sorbate. And even though the FDA has determined that those are likely fine, it's always good to do fresh. Fresh is always better. And this one is great because it only has 4 ingredients, just 4. So it only takes you a minute to whip this up. It's almost as easy, probably easier than going to the store and finding it and bringing it home. So let's start with that. So what I've got here is chickpeas. I've rinsed these, I've drained them, and I'm going to put them in my bowl. Now you might want to use a blender. I didn't want to use a blender today because it kind of gets loud, and but you might want to use a blender just for a smoother consistency. But we're going to start with our chickpeas. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of garlic. And remember, you're going to get all these, so don't worry about it. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water. So we've got garlic, chickpeas, water. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And you can do this to taste. You might like a lot of pepper. Definitely feel free to do that. All right, so we've got our garlic. And of course, since it's garlic, roasted, sun-dried tomatoes, we need our sun-dried tomatoes. And I get these with oil. You can get them dried, but you want to get these with, you want a little bit of oil in here, and it's a healthy oil. So don't worry about the oil. And we're not going to pour it out of the jar, so that's fine. All right, so I've just got a few, and I'm just going to do just a rough, going to get it kind of small, but just a rough chop. All right. And it has great, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's got some great color, that deep, dark red. Put it in my bowl. And at this point, you would just put it in your blender. Your Ninja or whatever you got can grind that up really smooth. But I'm just gonna do it with you might have a potato masher. You don't have a blender you can use, or you might want to use your mixer, which is a little harder because these peas can fly around. So you don't want to use that. But this is just an easy, and you can serve it with some of these peppers. You could serve it with pita chips. You could serve it with just about anything. And when you're thinking about your vegetables, think about that too, or your dips. Think about what you can serve them with besides bread. A lot of times we have chips with our dips and crackers or pretzels. And to me, Helen mentioned that a minute ago about what's worthy. Chips, crackers, pretzels, not really worthy. So don't fill up on those. They're just not worth it. And those we can kind of get in trouble with mindlessly eating those. So think about what other things you could do. You might even got some cucumber here, and I've hollowed this one out. If you could see, you could fill it with hummus and then slice it and have just little bites in a hollowed out cucumber. There's lots of ways you can serve this. You might even, if you have a crab dip, maybe a healthier crab dip with low-fat mayo or whatever, you could serve that on a lettuce leaf. Or just think about different ways you can serve these things that don't involve the chips and the crackers and the things that we're used to seeing, with our appetizers. All right.
Lisa, we have a question. Somebody wanted to know, can you use something besides chickpeas?
You could use a white bean. Works really well, a white bean hummus. Yeah, you could definitely use other things. You could use a black bean, but people are used to seeing hummus that's a light color. So, that kind of gives it away. And one thing you need to remember, when you serve something healthy, don't tell anybody it's healthy. Don't tell anybody. I think there should be a 24-hour rule. You can't tell them until 24 hours is up. Maybe if someone asks you for a recipe. But if you tell them it's healthy in advance, they're going to have a preconceived idea about what it's going to taste like. So keep that to yourself. And all of these recipes, I think, are things that anybody would want to eat, not just somebody who's trying to eat healthy. Just any of your family or friends would like this kind of stuff. So, all right. So that's one dip you can try. Just 4 ingredients, super quick, couple of pushes in your blender, and it's ready to go. I've got a pumpkin hummus that I'm going to share with you in the recipes. We won't make it today. It's got a lot more ingredients, so it's not quite as quick, but it's fun. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, so I think you'll like it. So there are a lot of things you can do, though. All right. I'll put this aside. That knocked off. All right. Another thing about vegetables you want to think about, veggie tray you can find on Pinterest where people make a Christmas tree out of vegetables. What I like to do is just fill it up with color. Just overfill your platter. When you go to the produce aisle, just look for color. Put strawberries on there with your red peppers and your broccoli and your carrots. Just tons of color. Just wow them with the color instead of just the little Christmas tree. So kind of think about that. I think that's kind of more impressive of a platter even than this little Christmas tree that took you so long to design. Just cut this stuff up and put it all over. Love that color. All right. Let's move on to side dishes. Before we do, y'all probably noticed this here. It's a pitcher of water, and I've just put some oranges and some herbs in it. So we want to drink our water during the holidays, but don't just carry a water bottle around. Make it as festive as everything else. Infuse your water with blueberries or cranberries or whatever you want to put in there, mint, cucumbers, and just make it more fun instead of just plain old water. Oh, I got to drink my water. You know, it tastes better and it makes it a little more special. So think about how you want to infuse your water at some of your Christmas parties. All right, let's move on. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show y'all how to make that's also super quick. I can grab it. Here we go. And this is just a few ingredients too. We have cherry tomatoes. We have basil. And this is from my garden because if you buy it at the store, it's pretty expensive. So think about if you don't, it's pretty cold. And I heard y'all saying it's pretty cold in some areas where you are. If you have an herb garden outside, it may not be looking too good right now, too healthy. So if you buy them in the store, store them just like you would flowers, except put them in the fridge. So just in a little glass of water, they'll last a lot longer. You hate to waste all that money you spend on fresh herbs. All right. And I've got some olive oil. And I've got, these are little pearl mozzarella. So they're really small. So you're not getting a ton of fat mozzarella. It's a low skim mozzarella, so it's healthy. And these are fun. And one thing you want to do is don't be afraid to outsource. Get your kids to help you with this. Get somebody else to help you with. You can get these little skewers and just skewer these on. You're going to put a tomato, a basil leaf, and then one of these little pearl mozzarella. And just skewer those. I'm just going to make a couple, and then I'm going to show you a little drizzle you can put on top. Doesn't this just look fresh? It just looks fresh. When you look at a bowl of French onion dip, it doesn't exactly, the first word that comes to mind is not fresh necessarily. All right, I've got my little skewer. Isn't that pretty with the red and the green, if y'all can see that? Let me get my cucumber out of the way. I'm gonna put this right here. And now we're gonna make a little, just a little drizzle. So I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And now I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And one thing about balsamic, do you ever wonder how you pick it? You know, just like olive oil, how do you know which one's the best one to buy? There's a tip for balsamic vinegar too. Look for one that says it comes from Modena. You want to find the one that says it's from Modena because that's where balsamic vinegar comes from. Anything else is an imposter. So look for that on the jar or on the back. All right, let me just whisk this up. Have a whisk somewhere. That's a big one. Oh, a little one. All right. Nope, that's not right. It's a little big. Let me just get a spoon. All right, so just give this a good whisk. So we'll have a nice tray of your tomatoes and your basil and your mozzarella, and you're just gonna drizzle this. Just drizzle it right over your whole plate of those. And it just gives it a nice pop, brings out the flavor of that basil. It's like a caprese skewer, you know, tomatoes and mozzarella. So it's just a fun, it's super pretty, super easy. Just, what was this, 3 ingredients, press 2 in your little drizzle. Another just super easy appetizer that's fresh and good. All right. Any questions, Helen, as we go along?
I wanted to know what did you say? Where is the balsamic from? I wanted to spell it. Was it
Modena?
Okay. All right. I put it in the text message, Modena. Thank you.
Great. All right. All right. Let's move on. All right. So now let's move on to, well, we're not going to really make any soups, but I just want to give you a couple tips about soups because soups are really good. They're filling. So if you have a broth or a broth-based soup before you go out. Sometimes that's filling. A lot of people say, okay, eat before you go out, then you won't be hungry. But for me, I'm still going to eat what I'm going to eat. Just because I ate before I went, that doesn't work for me. So if I'm going to eat something before I go, it needs to be something super light, like a broth or something like that. Something that just makes me feel like I had something, but wasn't really a lot of calories. You know what I mean? So, all right. So another thing with soups, if you want to thicken your soups, you can use a pureed bean. You can use mashed potatoes. Lots of things can thicken your soup without the cream. We love those cream-based soups. I make a tomato soup, and I'll just add some fat-free half and half at the end, and it really adds a lot of creaminess. So look for other ways to get that creaminess without the heavy cream or the full frozen you might add to that. All right. All right, so let's move on to sides. Now, my Thanksgiving dinner, we always have sweet potato casserole. Does anybody else have sweet potato casserole? Yeah, so I'm going to show you just a little healthier version, but it is super, super yummy. I think you'll like it. Let me grab my ingredients. So this is what I have first. This is sweet potatoes that I peeled. It's 3 pounds of sweet potatoes. I peeled them, I cubed them, and I boiled them. Let me get my bowl here. All right. So I'm just gonna, now the one that we make for my family has 1 1/3 cups of sugar in it. So some of yours might look the same. And you put all that in there and then you cover it with marshmallows. So that's a ton of sugar for a potato that's really pretty sweet on its own. It almost doesn't need all of that. So we're gonna make it a little different this time. Let me get my cinnamon. I need cinnamon, I need brown sugar, and just a little bit of butter. The one that my family makes has a lot of butter, so we're just going to use a little. And I like to use butter rather than margarine, especially I'm just going to use a little. So I still use it, I just use less. I like it, know what's in it, there's 2 ingredients in it, so I don't have to worry about what people say about margarine. You know, I know what's in this, I'm going to use this, just use less. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, and this has a nice topping on it. We're going to have some salt. Let me dump my sweet potatoes in here. Add a little salt. Add a little pepper. And I grabbed the wrong sugar for this. Oops, sorry. A little cinnamon. Cinnamon makes everything taste. Cinnamon and vanilla are 2 things you can add to any dessert, any dish that you're making, and use less sugar because it'll just make it seem sweeter. It makes everything taste sweeter. All right, so then we're going to mash these up, and I have a little bit of evaporated milk, and that's just going to make it a little creamier. Only pour just a little. And this is a fat-free evaporated milk. Another healthy.
So we have a few questions. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Somebody wanted to know about, is butter better than margarine? And then also, does salt bring out the sweetness?
Not the sweetness. It's kind of an odd thing. You know, some people put salt on the watermelon. It makes the watermelon taste sweeter. It does. Salt, sugar, lemon, all of these things just enhance the flavors that are already in there. So you always want to have a little salt. Now, if you're watching your salt, you'll be more careful with that. But you always want to add a little salt. And whenever I'm cooking anything, I don't put all the salt in there at once that goes in the recipe. I might put a little to start, and then I'll finish with a little. You want to kind of salt and taste as you go. All right. So I've mixed this up. You want to get it kind of creamy. Let me get my baking pan. And the thing that's different about this one, instead of marshmallows on top, we're going to put a crumble. We're going to put, it's almost like if you had like a fruit crumble. Get all this out of my whisk. There we go. Get my spoon here. Do you love this when the stuff gets caught in the whisk? Do you, Helen? I can only see you, so just nod your head.
What? Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. People
Yeah,
were
right.
talking, we got helpful hints coming all over. Somebody was saying they do their sweet potatoes in their Instapot. I did potatoes in Instapot for Thanksgiving, so I agree. I discovered my Instapot for potatoes.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that it seems like pepper would be odd in that little sweet casserole. So somebody wanted to know about the pepper. And then another person wanted to know if butter was better than margarine.
Well, I personally prefer butter. I like the taste of it. I like the fact that it's just, it's cream. We know what it is. It's just straight. It's natural. I tend towards more natural. You've probably seen as we go along. My appetizers are all real food. It's not. It's pretty clean if you're into that clean eating thing. Although there are no bad foods. I don't ban any food. So I prefer butter. Margarine has tons of stuff in it that I just prefer not to put in the recipe. So like we were talking about, I just use a little less.
Yeah. And then pepper. You put pepper in there, so they're wondering pepper.
I just put a little. I mean, sometimes we mix cayenne with chocolate. We mix that little, maybe it's a Texas thing. So y'all might not like as much heat as we like down here, but I like just a little bit. Just, you can almost taste that in there. So I do add a little pepper.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Let's make our crumble. We've got 2 tablespoons of butter. It was melted when I started, but now it's getting a little unmelted. Still soft though, so it'll work. All right, so we've got our butter. We're gonna add our sugar. And I'm just gonna put 2 tablespoons of sugar in here instead of 1 1/3 cups in our other recipe we were talking about. Get another spoon here. All right, some more brown sugar. All right, and now we're gonna add a cup of oats. You don't expect oats in your sweet potato casserole, do you?
Not at all.
It really makes a nice topping.
And are these instant oats or regular oats?
Regular, old-fashioned oats.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I also put some nuts in here. You can see this. Let me move out of the way here. And you could use whatever kind of nut. Pecan is probably the best to use, but walnuts work. And we're just going to use about 2/3 of a cup of walnuts. It just gives it a nice sweet crunch on top, which is what we're going for. Just going to chop these up a little. Nobody wants a whole walnut in their bite, I don't think. All right. Anybody else have any questions as we go along?
Well, one person suggested on the skewers that you made that you could also skewer fruit. They were, with the veggies, and that is definitely true. So, yeah.
Yeah, and when we get to the desserts, I'm going to give you a dip to go along with that. It's avocado chocolate.
Yeah.
Did everybody kind of go, avocado? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds good. We're on side, so we're halfway at the webinar. So we're doing pretty good, I think.
Good deal. All right. I've got my nuts.
Okay, so the nuts go in with the oats, I see.
Yes. We're making a little crumble, just like you would for a fruit dish. It's got a little bit of sugar, a lot of oats, a little bit of nuts, adds a little protein with your starch. They're always telling us if you're going to have a starch, have some protein.
Yep. Someone is thinking how good this would be in their cast iron. Like, that's a good idea, too. You could make it in your cast iron. Yeah. Good idea. You have some cooks in here watching, getting some helpful hints, I think.
All right. I love cast iron. All right. And then we just sprinkle this over the top. And we're going to bake this at 375 for about 30 minutes. And it's done. Not too hard, right? That wasn't too hard. A lot healthier. Looks good.
I'd eat it. Sounds good to me. It has everything I like. I like oatmeal, but I'm weird, maybe. I love oatmeal.
I do too. It has kind of a, earthy taste, I guess. That's not in an off-putting way. When you say earthy, but yeah. I like it. All right. So we added protein. the oats have a little bit of protein too. So we added some high fiber in there along with our potatoes, which have a little bit of fiber on their own. And the potatoes are so sweet, that's going to come out too. So I think
So we have a lot of people said that they made this recipe, Lisa. For Vicky Heath said she made it for Thanksgiving, and so did Louise. So we have some people that are big fans of this recipe. So everybody needs to try it for Christmas, I think.
that's great. Yeah. All right. So let's do another side. A lot of times we have salads, and salads can be kind of boring. But I want to show you this salad recipe. It's an apple cabbage salad. Might sound kind of boring, but it has tons of stuff in it, so I think you'll like it. All right, let me get my cabbage. So before I put anything in the cabbage, I'm going to mix up what I put in there with it. You can also just add it straight in there. That would work too. Let me get we've got so much stuff in here, I can't fit it all on my table. Tons of stuff in the salad, which is what I like in a salad. I just like tons of flavor. I don't want just lettuce and dressing. I want just everything but the kitchen sink in that salad. All right. Get all my stuff out here. This one does have a little bit of mayonnaise, but not a lot. All right. Let's start with 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. And this is a light mayonnaise. Get my spoon again. Clean it off. All right. Just gonna measure it out.
While Lisa's measuring all this out, I just want to say y'all can come to Wellness Week. She is our cook for Wellness Week every year at Round Top, Texas, which is in October. So I was just thinking, if you want to see Lisa at work and taste all her delicious foods, consider coming to Wellness Week and eating healthy foods all week and learning about healthiness and exercising with Vicky and a bunch of instructors. Anyway, it just made me think, this is Lisa at work, and you can come spend a whole week with her if you want.
You could. You could even come back in the kitchen with me and do some chopping. We don't talk about that. Just chopping. We eat so many fruits. We eat probably 100 pounds of vegetables at least, and fruit, depending on the size of the crowd. So tons of chopping if you want to come chop. I will let you. All right, now we're going to add some low-fat buttermilk. We've added our mayonnaise, and some things you need to measure. Now, I won't tell you have to measure the apples we're going to put in, or the cranberries, or the cabbage, but things like mayonnaise that can kind of get away from us, like peanut butter, some things we still need to measure. But in general, when you're cooking, you don't need to measure, but when you're baking, you do. You want to measure when you're baking, because that's kind of a chemical reaction that has to happen when you're baking. All right. All right, so I got my buttermilk in there. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of sugar. My hands are wet. All right, my tablespoon here. Sugar's another thing you might want to measure.
I hope so. I need to measure sugar for sure.
Yeah.
Or find a substitute. I might not use the sugar personally. Maybe. We'll see. I know you would. I wouldn't, maybe. I'd use less.
And when you have sweetness, another thing that'll punch it up is a little bit of acid. So we're going to put a little lemon juice in here. This is a tablespoon. So how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? You might know. Anybody know, Helen?
Nobody put it on here. I know, but I'm not saying. I know.
3 somebody.
Yep, somebody did. Yep, Grace knew. Thanks, Grace. She said 3 ? And Joanne knew. So yeah, I was like, I know it's 3.
All right.
We do have a few more questions. Somebody was back. Why buttermilk? Why buttermilk?
I like it because it's a low-fat thing that adds creaminess. And we need to pull all these things together. We've got a lot of cabbage. We have 6 cups of cabbage in here. And we're going to add some apple and some onion. So I need something to bring that all together. So the buttermilk is a low-fat way to do that. And the mayonnaise just kind of makes it a little thicker.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our 6 cup of cabbage. We have our little dressing mixture. Now we're going to add this is 2 apples chopped. And I chopped these a long time ago, but they still look pretty white, don't they?
Yeah, they look good.
Y'all know how to keep your apples from turning brown? You just need some kind of acid. It can be lemon juice, it can be vinegar. So just toss it with the squeeze of a lemon, and that will keep them from turning brown. So if you need to pack them on your lunch, pack them on your road trip, like Helen was talking about. You need a healthy thing to travel with, so you can take apple with you. All right, now
Somebody wanted to know about what kind of apples. Does it matter?
it doesn't. I use Gala, but you could use Red Delicious or whatever you like. Whatever.
All right. I'd be using Honeycrisp myself, so that's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Whatever your favorite apple is, that's what should be in there, I'd say.
Yeah, and you can play around with this. Like, I'm going to add some cranberries, but you could add raisins. You definitely don't. Instead of apples, you can have pears. So feel free to kind of change this salad up however you want to change it up. All right, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of walnut to give it a little crunch. It's almost like a Waldorf salad, if anybody knows what that is. I don't know if that's a Southern thing or not. So I'm just going to break up a few of these walnuts, put these in here. Look at all the stuff. A little bit of color. All right. So another thing, when you're, a lot of us, I know we do at Thanksgiving or Christmas, we will serve it buffet style. So another thing you might want to think about doing is fill your plate about 2/3 full with like the veggies, the healthier stuff. And don't deprive yourself of that, you know, sweet potato casserole, whatever it might be, macaroni and cheese. Just don't leave a lot of room on your plate for it. Just kind of fill it up with the good choices first, and then go back with the stuff that's worthy, that we've deemed worthy of the calories that they cost. All right, now we just toss this. It's just a nice fresh salad. The dressing's not too heavy. It's got a little bit of sweetness from the cranberries and the fruit, a little tang from the red onion. All right. And you could add iceberg if you wanted to, if you like iceberg, but any other lettuce wouldn't have that crunch that you would need in the salad. It would just be limp. All right, there's another side. We've got our sweet potato casserole, and now we've got our apple cabbage salad.
Lisa, I missed 2 questions back on the sweet potatoes. So somebody wants to know, could you use the Mrs. Dash as your spice, like to spice things up?
Sure, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if you're watching your salt, that's definitely a good option.
And then the other thing, when you were making the sweet potatoes, you put the sugar to the side. Do you put sugar in the sweet potatoes? Because
I do. I meant to put 2 tablespoons in there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
We've got 4, I think it is, all together. So 2 in it, 2 in your topping. Sorry about that.
And then they said, I know you guys were going to give you the recipes later, but they want to know how much buttermilk. They were watching you. So it looked like it was, I don't know.
It was 3/4 cup. I was using a cup measure. And I know y'all know these kind of measuring cups are for dry ingredients. I just didn't bring my glass one up here. Liquid ingredients should go in something like this, you know, in something like your glass measure. And there's a difference. You're supposed to use these for dry, and then your glass measuring cup for wet ingredients.
Right.
Thanks for bringing that up. I should have mentioned that.
No problem. All right. We got 20 minutes left, Lisa. What do you got for us?
Oh, good. All right. So we've gone through our sides. Let's head to dessert. We talked about that chocolate avocado dip. So let's make that. Let me grab the ingredients.
Well, I can tell you why you're looking for ingredients. We have a lot of avocados right now in Hawaii. I know you guys, I'm sorry, I do live in Hawaii, but we have, and maybe where it's warm in other places, but it is a ton of avocados right now. So I'm really interested in this avocado and chocolate dessert dip because I can definitely use these avocados. So show us, Lisa.
All right. So I'm going to use 2 of these, but I had 4 in case. Sometimes when you crack one of those open, they don't look very pretty inside. So I brought 4 up here. So does anybody know how to ripen an avocado? If you get one and it's not ripe, you can put it in a paper bag with an apple. And in about 24 hours, it will have ripened. There is a quicker way to ripen an avocado. You can poke holes in it and put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and it won't ripen it, but it'll soften it. So if you're making guacamole or something, you'll be able to use it. So, all right.
That's cool.
Get this out of here. All right. I'll drop my stem in there. All right. Get my spoon. I keep losing my spoon. Around here somewhere. I'll use this one. It's not going to work as well. Here it is. All right. So I'm just going to scoop my avocado out. And everybody has a way that they cut an avocado. I don't know how y'all do it, but I'll cut it inside the peel. Like if I want to make slices, I'll cut the slices first and then take my spoon and scoop out my slices. It makes perfect slices for a sandwich or whatever you might need a slice of avocado for.
I guess I needed that trick when I was slicing avocados at Wellness Week this year.
Yeah. Ellen is a great sous chef. She'll always come by the kitchen and ask me what I need chopped. So, all right, let's do one more. So we're using 2 avocados in this.
I'm sure everyone's looking at that knife thinking, okay, don't cut yourself, Lisa. Be careful.
I'll try not to. All right, scoop this out. This is definitely a bigger bowl than I need for this dish. All right, so I have 2 avocados in here. And now we're gonna add, you can use maple syrup or honey in this. And both of those are a little better than sugar because they have a little nutrients, but they're still sugar. They still have the same calorie and that kind of stuff. But honey has a little more antioxidants. So does maple syrup. If you get a real maple syrup, not pancake syrup or imitation that you can find. Some of you are in the right part of the country that you can really get some good maple syrup. So you probably want to use that in this recipe. All right, we're going to put a 1/4 cup in this recipe. A tip for whenever you're using something sticky like this is spray your measuring cup first, and then it's easier to clean. And it comes right out for your recipe. All right. And you can adjust the sweetness. You can use a little less, a little more, just whatever you prefer. All right, so got that in there. And now we're gonna, let me clean up my cup here. We're gonna add 2/3 cup of cocoa powder. That's our chocolate. I think this, no, that's not good. There we go. Clean that out. All right, so, and just any kind of, you could use a dark cocoa. If it's for kids, you might want this a little sweeter and use a different, not a dark cocoa. So just something to think about. Kids sometimes don't go for that dark chocolate, but we know that dark chocolate is better for us. But in a dip like this, you want something a little sweeter. All right. So I've had 2/3 cup of cocoa. And now I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla because we know that makes everything sweeter too. We talked about that. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Just a pinch of salt. And we talked about that. Salt makes things taste a little sweeter. And then this is almond milk. You could use coconut milk. You could use whatever you prefer. This is just to help it mix up a little. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in here. And then we're just going to mix this up. I have a nice soft, and a blender would work better on this one too because you want it to be smooth and creamy. And you can serve this with sliced pears, sliced apple, just strawberries, just any kind of fruit would be great. So this would be a nice dessert to just have out on the table, and people can have it with fruit, whatever fruit you have. All right. And as you go along, you might need a little more than 2 tablespoons. So just add however much you need to make it a smooth consistency. Generally, it takes up to 4 tablespoons. So I started out with 2 because you don't want it too runny. You want it to be a dip that sticks to your fruit. All right. And look at these ingredients. We have avocado, which is a healthy oil. We have cocoa, which is good for us. It's unsweetened cocoa. We have a little bit of honey in there. We've got some coconut milk or almond milk or whatever milk you want to use in there. Oat milk. All of those would work. All right. I don't want to spend too much time, but you just want to get it all mixed up. You don't want to see your slices of avocado in there. I don't want a big green thing on my apple either. All right. All right, pretty easy. Another thing I like to do with desserts is make small desserts. I have a recipe for a peach hand pie, and it uses crust, but it's not very big. And you can even get those pre-made whole wheat crusts if you want to. Sometimes you can find those in the store. And it just has fruit and a little bit of sugar, and you bake it, and it's really good. I'll give you that. Even the recipes I don't make, you're going to get recipes that we didn't make here just because I think you might like them. So you don't have time to make all of them. All right. Got that. Like here's a little banana pudding in one of those tiny little jars. It's not even a half a pint jar. Well, 4 ounce maybe. Not even 8 ounce. But you can make a dessert in a jar like this. A lot of times it helps to already have your serving decided for you. You know, we don't have to, if we're going for banana pudding, it might look on our plate like a lot more than this. So it's just a good way to help us and everybody else control our serving. And it's cute. It's cute in those little jars. All right. So we have to decide, like we were talking about, we have to decide what's worthy. And my daughter makes a pecan pie that is definitely worthy. It's almost addictive. It's so good, which is kind of good because it's all gone, so I can't go back for seconds. But I don't not have it. I'll just get a smaller slice. So I don't want you to feel like you have to eat vegetables and deprive yourself of your favorites. Just determine what's worthy and just get a normal size. They did a study and asked and had people eat a small serving of a pie and a larger serving. And the people who had the small serving weren't any less satisfied than the people that had the large serving. So I think you'll find that too. You know, if you'll be happy that you've at least got it, you've tasted it, you had a good serving. Don't just get a spoonful. That's not realistic. But get yourself a smaller, and you might even think about that if you're making a pie, one of your holiday things. Instead of slicing it in 6 or 8, slice it in 10, and just everybody will get a smaller slice. Nothing that says our pie has to be sliced in 8 slices. So think about it.
Someone wanted to know if lactose-free milk is okay.
Yes. Yeah. You're just trying to thin it. And it's only a couple of tablespoons up to about 4 tablespoons. So it's not adding a ton of flavor. You're just trying to thin it and re-moisturize that cocoa is all you're trying. So that would definitely work. And again, you can adjust the sweetness. Honey, maple syrup, whatever you're using, you can use less. All right.
Are we ready to ask them? We were going to ask them what food was worthy. Can we do that still? Can we do that? Good. All right, guys. So we have another poll for you. We were all interested in what is a worthy food to you. And so where does it fall? So I'm launching the poll. Does your worthy food, and it's like worthy of eating the calories, is it in the appetizer? Is it in the side dish, the entree, or the dessert? 53% of the people, half the people are like dessert it is. Then we're tied for a side and entree, and the poor appetizer comes in at a lowly 9%. So there we go. So
that's great. So that tells you a lot though, because a lot of times we graze over that appetizer table and it's not even worthy. So find something else to do. Go talk to somebody, go wash some dishes, you know, we need to get ourselves away from that table, because if we're standing there, we're going to keep snacking and eating whatever's there. So
Well, it is true. The appetizers are what they put out, and sometimes isn't it's terrible that you're so full you can't even enjoy, you're too full to enjoy the awesome food that is going to be later. So I agree. And I do tend to I like vegetables because at least I can overeat vegetables. It's something that I know I can fill up on, and it's not going to be unhealthy for me as long as they don't have too much stuff on them.
Yeah.
So one person wants to know, what does that chocolate avocado dip look like, Lisa?
Ah,
Nobody got to see what it looks like. So can you show us? Like, is there, oh yeah, can you put some out for us? Yeah, there you go.
I want to mix this a little longer, but we're getting low on time, so I didn't want
Oh,
to.
I see. So it does look chocolatey then, huh? It looks chocolatey to me. I would dip something in there.
A cracker? No.
Yeah, maybe a vanilla wafer, maybe. But yeah, that's probably yeah, maybe not where you're
I
supposed to
love the
go.
dip though that you're supposed to put fruit in instead of something else.
Yeah. So you could put that with, if you had fruit skewers, that could be part of the dip on the fruit skewers. Yeah.
And
So
that's another thing that kids can do. Give them some of these little sticks. They're not pointy on either end. You can get those probably at your local grocery store. Let them put some strawberries, some kiwis, and just make some little skewers. Let them help. Get the kids involved. So that's our last recipe. Helen was asking what this is, and it's a little strawberry Santa. Super easy. Kids can make this too. We just take a strawberry. Let me move some of this stuff so you can maybe see it. We're just going to slice the top off. And then we're going to take another slice. And you can use whatever creamy thing you want. I've got a ricotta. You can use cream cheese. You could use just about any thick, creamy thing on here. Get a spoon. And why I didn't bring more spoons down here. All right. Super easy. Kids can do it. It's a nice little fun thing. Looks really cute. Let me just move this out of the way. A clean plate. And now we just take our spoon, and you want to put a big dollop because this is his beard. You want his beard to be coming out of the strawberry. So just a little dollop. You might get the low-fat whipped cream cheese would work well. You don't need to add any sugar to it. Hopefully your strawberries are kind of sweet. So here we have our Santa. I'm going to put just a little dab of this so his little hat stays on. Sticking to my finger. And then I have for the eyes some little mini chocolate chips. So
your favorite. I learned that from you. You like those mini chocolate chips.
Because they add just a little bit of flavor. You're talking about my cookbook. There's a banana bread, a low-fat banana bread in there that you can add mini chocolate chips. So you get just a little bit of chocolate flavor throughout the whole thing without a ton of calories. So isn't it super cute? These would look really cute on the tray. Just a fun thing for kids to get involved. You could skewer grapes and strawberries, and even a marshmallow the kids could put on their fruit skewer to just give them a little pop of sweetness. Marshmallows are low in fat, but they're still sugar, so it's nice to add a little pop of sweetness. So that's
all right, guys. So here's a couple questions. Somebody wanted to know what is a good non-dairy creamer substitute?
I'm fat-free half and half.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
or just half and half. I would say. I don't know if you're just using a little. And so another question someone asked is, will we share the recipes? And yes, it'll be on YouTube. And when you go to the YouTube link, in that YouTube link underneath, we'll also have a link to the recipes. And so you'll have that. So also, I just wanted to point out, I already shared one cookbook with you, and she was just saying she has this banana nut cookie, breakfast cookie, and I add those mini chocolate chips to my banana nut bread breakfast cookies, and I freeze these and have those for breakfast. So her cookbook is full of stuff, and she has a new cookbook coming out. So keep checking on our website. In 2020, we'll have her new cookbook, Deliciously Happy. and it's going to be filled with a whole bunch of new different things. But some of the cool things that I've heard that some of you guys have asked about, one section is going to be cook once, eat twice. And then another thing is about cooking for one. And it's just me and my husband. So even cooking for one can probably still work for cooking for two, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to that. So I want to thank Lisa. She's awesome, as you all know. And so look for her recipes soon. Check back on our website. Our 2020 webinars are coming very soon. I'll have them posted. And in February, we're having another food related one. Charlotte Davis will be with us and talking about, the history of food diets. She has this really great talk that I've already heard that's just hilarious about where we have evolved and then really how to eat healthy. And so that's what we're all about at First Place for Health. You can go to our website at firstplaceforhealth.com, or you can go fp4h.com. That goes directly to our website. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Happy holiday cooking. We're so glad you joined us. Bye.
Bye. Bye, y'all.